You looking for this?
Welcome back to BoomShot. I'm Caleb. This is Colby, and
Yes,
welcome
sir.
to the studio, Caleb Odin. His music has
He's
been on
back.
every single video that we have ever posted. We just watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. That's a tongue twister. So we're going to give you our thoughts on it, starting now. All right, you know the drill. First question, always. What'd you think about the movie?
I mean, I thought it was fantastic, honestly.
That's
I was
respect.
kind of surprised. Like, I mean, I had high hopes going into it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've always loved TMNT since I was a kid, so that's kind of partially
Yeah, we
why I
have
wanted
to,
to see it, but it definitely delivered.
Yeah, I think my favorite part is the pop culture references.
Yes.
It was filled to the brim with them.
They were
so,
a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I mean, I think it was really good. I mean, obviously it had really good Rotten Tomatoes score coming into
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I think it delivered. I think it was a good movie.
And I felt like
yeah.
early in the movie it kind of dragged a little bit, but then as we got toward the middle, it started to pick up. But definitely my favorite part was the pop culture reference. It just felt like reality to me because that's how kids talk these days.
yeah.
But getting into the more technical details of the movie, what do you think about like the plot?
So it kind of starts off with their backstory, which, you know, I guess we've seen before. There's been renditions of it. A lot of movies recently, they go straight into the story if it's a familiar backstory. But I respect that they went into it.
What do you think about the plot, Odin?
I do agree, it did kind of start a little slow, but it picked up, and it got really, really good. The whole third act was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And they kind of did almost like it felt like kind of like a fake out. Like there was a third act.
Yeah, I agree.
Kind of thought it ended, and then it kind of
Yeah.
picked back up and gave it, it surprised me.
Yeah, it kind of got me. I was like, is that it? And then no. We got Big Boy.
Then yeah, it was like a complete fake out for the third act.
Yeah, I would say the conclusion was pretty satisfying too. The movie starts with them wanting to be part of their world or part of this world, kind of, you know, like a Little Mermaid type thing, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle side. Yeah, part of your world, like that's what they wanted to be. And the whole point is like the humans wouldn't accept them. And at the end of the movie, we finally get to see that they do get to be part of the world. So it felt pretty satisfying to me, you know, from beginning to end, seeing their dream come true.
Yeah, that was kind of cool how they teamed up at the end with the humans.
Oh, yeah, that was
Yeah.
And, to get the serum or whatever into the blowhole.
Yeah. If you have no context.
No context.
No context statement. No.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, if taken out of context with this movie, you can be like, what, like the milking thing,
Yeah.
and the no nipples, like
Which was integral to the plot.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
true.
it
That
really
came up with-
was. They kept on making it was the ultimate foreshadowing. They kept on making a joke out of it, but then it became a big point in the movie. But as far as like visual quality goes, you know, something that we've seen animated movies do, especially since Spider-Verse, is they've started to mess with the animation style. What do you think about the animation style for this movie? Yeah,
I mean, it was fantastic. I mean,
Yeah, it was
like
cool.
visually, everything looks super, super cool. I mean, it's kind of this. I feel like Spider-Verse really kind of started it.
yeah,
So I know whenever they dropped trailers for this one, I got really, really hyped just because of the art style.
Yeah.
I was a little worried, a little bit, because I could understand how someone would say they're kind of ripping off Spider-Verse, but I don't think they were. If anything, they took inspiration from like the whole kind of comic book style. Like with
Yeah, I
that,
agree.
this one seemed more like
it
more
felt like
comic book.
watercolor to me.
Yeah, it was really
But like this whole thing kind of felt like watercolor, like oil painting type. It had different art
It was
styles.
the one word I kept thinking of was a very like asymmetrical movie. Even a lot of like the characters, like the character design was so weird. Like
Yeah.
especially humans are so ugly.
Yeah, that is true.
Their faces are like sideways and like all that kind of stuff. April was like the only human that had like a symmetrical face.
I wonder
Like-
if that's intentional though. Like maybe
I
they
think
did
it-
that.
yeah,
Maybe
it
they
definitely
did that
was.
because of the way the Ninja Turtles see the humans. Like for example, the way that the humans judge them, they see them kind of slanted. But April was the only one that didn't, and so they kind of saw her in a straight way.
onto something.
That's a
you
bar,
onto
dude.
Eric
something.
Voss
You
taught
onto
me.
something.
Our friend Eric Voss taught me everything.
Figured
I
it
know.
out, dude. Good lord.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what y'all were saying. I think it was, it took inspiration from Spider-Verse, but it was different enough to, I don't think it was like a copycat version. Like
Yeah,
you were
it
saying.
set itself apart.
True.
It wasn't as bright and vibrant as Spider-Verse is.
Yeah, that's
It's
a good
more of
point.
a darker in the sense that it's visually darker, not like plot-wise.
Yeah,
It really wasn't that dark.
grim. We see a lot of like animated movies. Pixar animation style has dominated the animation market for a long time.
Yeah.
Spider-Verse was the first movie to really break that trend, but we've seen multiple movies like Spider-Verse 2, Puss in Boots, and then this movie, and all four of those movies are hits. And I think it's because they take a risk by deviating from the style.
Right.
And immediately that goes ahead and opens your mind up to a different thing. You're not just going to watch a standard animated movie. You expect something different because the art style is different.
Yeah.
Another big thing is you can't have an animated movie without incredible voice actors. So, and this cast was loaded. It was almost Oppenheimer level, maybe. No, I'm just kidding. Nothing's Oppenheimer level. What do you think about the voice acting?
I mean, voice acting was excellent. I mean, a lot of good choices went into it, especially I think Jackie Chan as Splinter was probably my favorite.
Yeah,
he killed it.
I think Mr. Beast as Jackie Chan as Splinter.
Dude, now that was the pop culture reference I wasn't ready for.
No, but yeah, Jackie Chan as Splinter is perfect in my opinion. Like if I had to pick somebody to voice act, I would probably pick Jackie Chan.
Paul Rudd as
Ice Cube.
Yeah, Ice Cube as Superfly.
Ice Cube killed me, dude.
And fitting.
Was funny.
It was hilarious.
Yeah,
very fitting.
I think the interesting part about it is that most of the Ninja Turtles were voice actors I've never really heard of before.
I know the kid who voiced, I think it was Donatello, he voiced a character in that
He sounded
cartoon.
familiar.
Yeah, he voiced a character in that cartoon, Amazing World of Gumball. I think he voiced, what's his name, the fish, Darwin? I think he voiced Darwin. You could kind of hear his voice would get high, and I'm like, it's Darwin. I was like, it's Darwin.
Okay, so what do you think about the characters in general? So not like the voice acting, but just how the characters are written.
Well, they did keep it original with the core TMNT with their different attributes, like Leonardo being a leader, Raphael being kind of like a tough guy brute or whatever, Donatello being the smart guy, and Michelangelo being the Joker character, jokes around, all that kind of stuff. And they did stick to that, and I really really appreciated that. I feel like that's the most important thing about TMNT. When you want to make a movie with them or a comic book or whatever it is, that's the most important thing.
And I respect that they stuck to it. And also, I think it was cool they didn't go immediately into Shredder. We were talking about that before.
Yeah.
Because we've seen Shredder multiple times, and he's usually the first big bad. So I think it was cool that they did something else with the first movie. Obviously, I guess they'll make a second one with Shredder, which is awesome.
100%.
Which is awesome.
100%,
but I think it's cool that they went with something else for the first one.
I think the character, to what you were saying about the Turtles being in their roles and their attributes, the character that really grew the most, in my opinion, that didn't really fit his role at first was Leo. And I think he was the one who grew the most because we see him trying to pass off leader responsibility whenever they're like, but you're the leader, tell us what to do. And he's like, Donnie, do something. And they're having to come up with a plan. And then we see him grow into his character at the very end where he's inspiring the team and tells them what to go do. So I think he was the one who grew the most. So I don't know if you could really say that there was a main character in the story, but I mean, depending on the way the characters grew, you could say Leo probably would be.
It seemed like he did have more of an arc than the other three.
Yeah, that's true.
At the same time, April kind of had a similar plot.
Yeah, that's true.
Her plot went tandem with theirs. Pretty much the entire movie had fit together, and they both came to the same conclusion at the end, and then did their thing. Yeah,
I also think Splinter had a pretty good arc too, where he's at the end, he's like, I don't want to be like Superfly, and he came full circle with that. In general, I really like Splinter. I think he was written well. Jackie Chan killed it. So I mean, I think all the characters were good.
Another big thing is, obviously this is an animated movie. You can get a little bit creative with the action sequences. So what y'all think about the action sequences they had?
I thought it was sick, man. I mean, it's the TMNT. You got to have a lot of fighting. You got to have a lot of good hand-to-hand, nunchuck, staff, bow fighting, all the stuff. And they did it. And I like how it showed their background training a little bit. And then we see Splinter come in and rescue him, and he uses all the different weapons that he trained them with. So I think that was cool.
One thing I thought was funny about the action was Donatello blatantly saying how he literally has a stick, and the rest of them have blades or nunchucks. That's everybody's always talked about that. Donatello's kind of he has a stick because he has a bow staff. I mean, they can be deadly, obviously, but I just thought it was funny how you brought it to light. I have a stick.
Yeah, the action was pretty good. They didn't really have a lot of. They had a couple hand-to-hand fight scenes. There was one big chase scene. Most of the fighting came at the very end of the movie whenever they were fighting the big whale, horse, octopus, super fly creature thing,
super duper fly.
Yeah, super duper fly. My bad. Most of the action came then, but. From the hand-to-hand sequences that we saw, I feel like if you're going to have a Teenage Ninja Turtles movie, you got to nail the ninja side of it, obviously.
The kung fu.
Yeah, and I feel like they did nail that from what we saw. The first fight scene we see them in is they're like, well, we've never been in a fight before. And then they just end up making a mess of things, but they still win.
Yeah.
But that was cool to me.
Real quick, I did love that little heist sequence where they were supposed to be stopping them from getting that last component, and then they helped them get it. That part to me was my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
But we got the part with the stick, your favorite part of the movie with the joke that Paul Rudd's character made.
He was like, he asked where they were taking him. He's like, see that building right there? No, that's not it. I was just I don't know why that was so funny.
It was funny, and then also the twerking sequence. You know, that I laughed out loud.
Dude, when Splinter kissed the cockroach, man, that
I forgot about that. I think I blocked it out of my memory, but that was pretty funny though.
Yeah, the whole movie had humor, like on your nose type humor, but it was delivered well.
The humor that kind of shocked me. That's probably the hardest I've laughed in the theater.
Yeah,
look, like consistently, I was laughing.
Each joke was landing. It was really, really funny. Yeah. Mm-hmm. For a kids movie, it wasn't as immature as I thought it was going to be. I will say some of like the pop culture references are
kind of cringe,
kind of like a little cringe.
Yeah,
but I thought it was kind of funny. I like the references to Aki, or whatever, the guy in New York makes the food. Aki Way, that guy. I thought that was hilarious.
The last category is always the score and soundtrack. As Hans Zimmer once said, he didn't write music to tell you how to feel, only that it was time to feel. And that quote really hits home. So, what'd y'all think about the score / soundtrack?
Thought it was good, man. And then you got that one character that was just singing the whole time.
The Ray? I don't know what his name is. Something Ray.
Like, I couldn't quit laughing because he kept like singing it. Like that. I didn't know what his name was because he kept singing it. I couldn't even pay attention.
I mean, I would throw that in with the music in this movie, and I was vibing with that, dude. Bro was just singing the whole time, and I can respect that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I liked the music in general in the score.
Yeah, I think Superfly actually had a dope character intro. Yeah. It kind of sounded like a bit of Miguel / the Prowler.
It was a little bit of like a darker kind of, I noticed like later in the movie the kind of synths that they used whenever they would be sort of like after Superfly turned into Super Duper Fly. Yeah. After that happened, you could tell like the really dark like low synth music you could hear in the background. That was really, really cool. Yeah, and that fit. That really kind of showed like the true like scale of what's happening.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack hit as well. They had He-Man, the He-Man song. They had that song in there during the chase sequence. They had what was the song at the very end that I kept on singing?
Can I kick it?
Can I kick it? That's it. Yeah.
So as we wrap up, we always like to give an out of 10 rating, right? Usually we go category by category ranking it. We didn't do that this time. So sheer reaction. What are you rating this movie?
I really, really enjoyed it. It was super fun to watch. I definitely want to go see it again. I think they did a great job handling with the source material too, and I think they're going to kill it with a second movie. I can already see Shredder as main villain in the second movie, and I could probably see the Krang coming in the third movie. Mm-hmm. So they already got that laid out pretty much automatically. But I feel like there wasn't enough fight scenes, really. That's probably the only thing. Yeah. There really was not that many. We didn't really get to see that much of them, using all their different weapons and stuff, which is what makes them so iconic. So that's probably the only, like, big thing I didn't like. So because of that, I'd probably give it, like... I wanted to give it a 9, but I'll probably give it, like, an 8.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty fair.
That's about where I was at, too.
To me, it dragged a little bit. The only thing I can compare it to right now is the Mario movie. And the Mario movie also had to do kind of a little bit of exposition to get them to Mushroom Kingdom. But I felt like it did it's kind of quick, but in a way that I still tracked with it. And like you said, for what the source material that they had, I think they did well. So that was kind of my only drawback other than the fight scenes. I'm probably sitting at like a 7.5 right now.
It was a fresh take on it while also sticking to the source material, which I can appreciate.
It's a big thing. So where are you at with it?
I'd say about an 8.
Yeah. The big question is what do you guys think? Did you like the movie? If you've seen it, if you haven't seen it and you watched all of this, you're probably so confused. But and thank you guys for watching and let us know what you think. And we'll see you in the next one.